thank you for doing this, and thank you for the feedback, if I can call it that. I'm getting some very beautiful comments from people, so thank you. Please let it work for you. At Gita, here in our yoga, what we're trying to do always is make this life joyful, because that's really what the soul has come into incarnation for. I remember once being interviewed on a radio program, I think it's a long time ago, and they said, "So what is the purpose of life?" And I said, to enjoy it. And the person was a little peeved. That doesn't sound very much. It's everything. We are here to live in joy. And how do we do that? Well, as I said, with Gita in our yoga, we want you as an adult to have the nurturing here and have the experience of the hatha and the esoteric, so that we can feed that back down into our soul culture in which we surround our children. Now, a couple of weeks back, we were talking specifically about discipline and following the higher path, and there were some things I probably skipped over, and I'd just like to go back and expand on those practically, so that we've got some ways of working. And so the very first one, I guess, is sometimes the child is out of control because they, if you remember, they are trying to draw attention to themselves to survive in order to make sure they really stay anchored here. And we might feel that, that they're banging their feet and clapping, and it's just ridiculous, and we need to stop it. Perhaps we're going to slap them. No, don't. But use a circuit breaker. Understand you're right. They are a little bit out of control. The very best thing I can suggest, and I really urge you to practice this, is to slightly cup your hand and slap it with the other one. It makes such a clear sound. It always stops, and it just goes straight through the etheric out of control vibration. And then if you follow up with just steady, joyful conversation, it's as though you smooth the etheric and you bring everything back. If you follow that circuit breaker with more shouting, you really undone it. But just, it stops, and then it needs peace, it needs that vibration of your voice, or if you can, sing. Now that leads me into the second thing. Sing your discipline. If you can see that your older children perhaps are so engrossed in some activity, they're not going to hear you shouting at them. They're not going to hear you talking quietly. So sing. Just sing very simply. It's packing up time, it's packing up time. I'm getting dinner ready. It's packing up time, it's packing up time. Something humorous like that will allow you to stay in a really good state. And if you do it regularly, they'll actually join in. Think, oh, there she goes again, or there he goes again. Because, believe it or not, men, you can also sing. And sometimes you can sing better than me. So use the voice and sing the discipline. We're getting in the car, we're getting in the car. Quick, 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 who's going to get there first? It's a beautiful way, instead of just everything being so serious. Life can be very boring that way. And then there are some other things that we can do. This redirection principle is one I have deepest faith or deepest conviction about. It's when something isn't going well, you need to change the direction. And if you look at yourself as an adult, isn't that what you wish? You don't want an expert to come along and say to you, don't you know how to change the tyre? You're doing it the wrong way. If you weren't so stupid, you'd do this and that. Wouldn't you rather have somebody come along and say, close your eyes for a moment, I'll change the tyre, and then let's go and have a coffee. It's that redirection principle that makes us feel the day's worthwhile. I have two ideas for you. One is, if you're outdoors, then use the surprise element. Just, you think, these kids are just a little bit too out of control. But, oh, can you see what I can see? And you'll find, if you play that game, that the children will join in too. They'll think, what's she looking at? What's he looking at? And, at the end of the day, it might just be the lamppost. But it's the fun of changing from noise to intrigue. It's a wonderful way of redirecting and refocusing. The other one in the home is to have something like this beautiful poster. I'll just drag it up a little here and see if we can share it with you. It's one that I've had for so long, and I think initially it came from the Geograph Society, but you'll find something similar. Now, have it in the home. The idea is that we are looking to find these particular creatures in this extraordinary maze. And I promise you, if you had it for 100 years, you'd probably not find them all. But when things are getting a bit tense and a bit tight, you say, I'm looking to see if I can find this one. Can you help me? And just go looking. Somewhere this one is in there. And you know what happens? Inevitably, the people around you will say, well, I can't find that one, but I found this one. It's a variation on another quirky idea that you might think, she's mad, but I promise you it works, is get a dictionary and have it, a big old dictionary, and have it somewhere, maybe in the kitchen or just around the area where you eat, and always have it open. Get one of those little magnets, maybe a little bee magnet or something, and just put it on a word. And occasionally when things are obviously out of control because kids are tired or you're tired, then just say, just a minute, I'm just going to go and see if there's a word there that I could find, and just have a look. Learning to share, particularly with the older children, a new word or the source of a word is a beautiful way of redirecting and stimulating, because I want to come back and say to you again, look, all behaviour stems from our desire to learn and grow. It does not come from an innate desire to be naughty. That is the stupidity of our culture that thinks that people are deliberately naughty. No, always wanting stimulation, always wanting to learn. So let's work with that. And if you find at the end of the day you can manage this, can I share one last thing? Use Friday nights to do something. Meet the kids after school and take them to the zoo at 4 o'clock. It's wonderful. Or take them to the Botanic Gardens and arrange to meet your partner there and have a picnic. Or if it's even a cold, wet night, do something mad like go to the beach and watch the storm on the ocean. Friday nights after school, 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, can just be magic. And these are all ways of following a higher path, of making life joyful and getting us out of the rut of thinking, oh, soon I'll grow out of this. We're here to live. Let's really enjoy it. Thank you.